Armenians are very loving and very open-hearted. Even talking to someone on the street, they would immediately invite you to their house. Yes, come to my house. And then when you go to their house, they have, no matter how rich or poor they are, they always have something for you. They very hospitable. I love the word for, and it doesn't really translate into English, but it's hurasirel, and it's basically like guest loving. And so that's what they do. They invite you in, and they're like, be loved by us, I guess. I learned a lot from them about love and about what it means to be a Christian. Family is very important to them. Everything in their life is centered around their family. After they get married, a lot of times the son and daughter-in-law will go back and live with their parents, and then they'll just raise their family there with the grandparents. And even if there are still brothers and sisters at home, the family's just there and together. They really love their families. It's neat, especially to feel, because they're so loving, that they make you a part of the family. You're not just some American there speaking their language, however great or terrible you may be speaking, but you become a part of their family, and you feel just how great their love is.
I love Armenia. Man, I miss it so much. Mostly I miss the people, miss the culture. They're just so great. They're just so loving, so humble, and there are several times, dozens of times, where I'd be walking along a street and a complete stranger would give me a bag of apples or a bag of apricots or something, just because they love you. That's just what Armenians do. They just love you. They're incredibly humble. They have a lot of faith. They because of their Christian culture, they love Christ. Their main method of showing that they love you is giving you food. The food there is so good. I miss the bread, probably more than anything. It's just so fresh and delicious, and there were so many days that I would just eat bread for breakfast just because it's so good. A lot of fresh stuff, a lot of fresh herbs, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh bread that they make themselves, a lot of soups and things wrapped in leaves, which sounds weird, but they'll have this thing called dolma, which is their biggest dish, kind of like a beef rice patty thing, wrapped in a grape leaf and cooked in sauce. It's really good, really delicious. Just the people are amazing, culture is amazing, it's so historically rich. It's beautiful there, especially in spring, just so green. A really amazing view of Mount Ararat, which, they say is where Noah's Ark landed.
They love rugs. Rugs are everywhere. They're used as mouse pads. They're put on the cushions of the couch. They're on the walls, just everywhere. And I just start walking in just thinking, holy rug. There's rugs everywhere. And I had murabai, which is their jam, and they made me tea. And I had figs for the first time in my life.
Armenia has such a special culture. It's really a uniquely placed nation because it's a Christian nation, but for all intents and purposes, it's on the border of the Middle East. So its history has been rife with being conquered by Islamic nations, Turkey, Iran, and so they've had a lot of struggles with that. But they've always tried to maintain that Christian culture since they converted in 309, and they were actually the first nation that officially accepted Christianity. And it's this very special part of their culture where Christianity is a huge part of their identity. One of the interesting cultural things that I liked was just how important to them their families were. And it's a little different than here in the United States. Here, when you get older as a member of your family, you eventually get married and move out and go start your own. And in a way they do that as well. But there's a lot more extended family living together. For instance, the firstborn son, he doesn't move out. He goes and gets married, brings his wife home, and then he inherits the house as his parents get older. And that kind of takes care of him and his family and also his parents, so that in Armenia, they take care of each other. They take care of their family members in need. Obviously there are cases when there's older people living by themselves, but For a large part of it, their parents are living with them, they're taking care of them, and they just have a huge support unit for their family. Some do's and don'ts. This is because Armenia is kind of on the cusp of the Middle East. There's some Middle Eastern traditions that have kind of creeped in. For instance, in the Middle East, anything relating to your shoes are offensive. And so Armenians have this also a similar belief that the sole of your foot is offensive. So it's offensive to sit with your legs crossed and to show the bottom of your feet. That's something you just have to be conscious of. It's not, I guess, necessarily a super big deal, but it is something that's there.
Armenians, I love them. I love them so much. Like a lot. Armenians are so giving. They just love you. I don't know how to say it. They are wonderful and I love them.